Everyone, this is Matt Castilleja from Castilleja Studio. He is the owner and maker of contemporary sculptural furniture and objects in Kansas City, Missouri. And he graduated from the University of Missouri, Kansas City with a bachelor's of architecture and in 2009. And then I hope that you tell us more about this really cool experience. You went on an unpaid internship under a renowned woodworker, and during this time you founded your studio. But as a reward for your hard work, this is it pronounced Polivka?
Yes, Polivka.
Polivka.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he offered his 40,000 square foot studio space and equipment as payback, which is outstanding, amazing. So what a cool little experience. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your background and journey to where you are now?
Sure. So I guess it kind of all started, just as a kid, just being fascinated by just being outside. I grew up in the urban core. I saw a lot of buildings being demolished and houses falling into repair. We had a good-sized yard and lived down the street, and without getting too far into the past, but I was always curious, digging holes, building bridges with sticks, and just like seeing how far I could stretch these bridges across hole. And I was just fascinated by how these things worked. And over the years, going into school and starting to study architecture, I drew upon that kind of sense of wonder that you have as a child. Just drawing completely ridiculous things, and like, oh, I want to do this or build that. You kind of as you grow up, you go through experiences and you see things and you experience things that you kind of lose that sense of wonder a lot of times. It kind of takes a little bit of that, that sense of whimsy I'm trying to tap back into. Architecture school drove into us that, things need to be a certain way for a reason, structural, and meeting city codes and, building codes and that sort of thing. That kind of takes away from the sense of wonder, I feel. So I really like having authorship in design with furniture. The good and the bad, it rests all on you, whoever's building each piece. I really like that accountability. It's just, a handful of people building each piece. So, you're able to celebrate the successes and, really acknowledge the failures when they happen, and they do. Doing furniture design, it's a very intimate thing. Kind of like fashion. It's you have to work with the design to work with the human anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
Around about.
No, I completely agree. So did you know that you were going to get into furniture design aspect of architecture, or were you planning on becoming an architect?
Well, so this was going on during the recession, and I had a lot of friends who were either not getting jobs or being laid off from their architectural posts, and I kind of had to make a decision. So it was driven by economic and environmental aspects, I would say. So either I finish school or try to get a job, but I really didn't want to incur too much more debt going to school in an uncertain economic climate. But I still really loved what I learned in architecture school. I figured I just want to tap into how things are built. I want to learn how to make them. I want to operate on a high-end level. And so I started welding and just kind of taking up any job that I could. I worked in bars. So I would, work on my internship during the day. I'd work at bars at night to be able to pay the bills. But I'd also, I lived next door to my grandmother, who had a 2-car garage, and she didn't drive. So she said, you can use the garage space. I think she figured I would just be down there here and there and lose interest and move on to something else. But I had like a full scale metal shop in her garage, and I'm sure, bless her heart, she let me continue down there. And, I kind of got to a point where like, okay, I can't keep doing things the way they are. I need to make this into an actual business. I need to pay taxes, figure out how to uh, do accounting. I mean, it kind of all just came together, and I didn't necessarily want to work somewhere else. I worked for other shops. I kind of just wanted to do my own thing. I'm just stubborn, and I had a kind of a vision, or at least the beginnings of a vision that I wanted to see through. And I had the space, I had the drive, just kind of young and dumb, and didn't know what I didn't know. So that's what kind of gave me the confidence to move forward, and kind of learning as I went. So I didn't
Wow.
know I was going to be embarking on something like this. I was just kind of, like I said, just young and dumb, and I love design, I love fabricating, and it just seemed like the perfect fit. Kind of just taking little steps along the way.
So your first pieces were created in your grandmother's garage?
Some of the first pieces were, and my welding table was this bent piece of plywood, and it wasn't ideal, but when you really love something, you just make it work. And I had incredible teachers at some of my internships, and some of them were incredibly, just hard on you. They just pushed for excellence. If your pieces weren't square, they told you to cut it up and start over. And that's kind of how we went. And I just took that thing and just applied it to my process. I just made it work.
Wow. Do you still have some of those first pieces?
I have maybe only a couple. I think I know my brother has one. I think my sister does, and it's just some family members. I don't think I'd ever post anything. They were,
What were they?
back
What'd you make?
in 2008. The whole barn movement was still in full swing. So, I had an Etsy account, and my friend Bo and we went out and pulled down this barn at his grandfather's barn in Kansas, and I was just like, oh my god, I had like dollar signs shooting out of the walls. I'm like, we're just gonna be rich. Look at all this stuff, and it's amazing. I get on there and I'm working with it. Like, I don't. This is not like what I want to do, and I was selling a lot of work, but it's just that's not the type of work I wanted to do, and that's just not what I envisioned. So I had to kind of put the pause button and kind of just reassess. I kind of just learned that looking through all the woodworking magazines and YouTube videos, I wasn't going to get where I wanted to get just by doing it myself in the garage. So I had to reassess and just kind of swallow the pill and say, hey, I don't know enough yet, so I need to find someone who does know, or I need to try to get into grad school or do something so that I can execute the design and the ideas that I had in the way that I want them to be, to move forward.
And so did you find this furniture designer? Like, did you reach out to him, or how did that connection take place?
Well, I always knew he was there. I'd ride my bike in the area called the River Market in Kansas City. I I'd pass by and I looked in the window a couple times, and it just looked amazing. But for some reason, I just didn't know enough about. I wasn't sophisticated enough back then to really understand the quality of work that they were achieving, and just because I didn't appreciate the look. It was a different style. So just me being young and dumb, I was just like, well, I'm going my own way. And years later, I told him that, and he was like, yeah, you were pretty foolish, weren't you? And I was like, yep. And so my aunt Adrian, she was like, hey, you need to go check this guy. He's in the River Market. I think you should go learn from him. At the same time, I was looking at grad schools that fortunately I didn't wasn't accepted to any of the grad schools I applied to. So for some reason, well, so I approached him, knocked on the door. He's this very animated character, and he kind of like busts open the door. He's like, "Yeah, what do you want?" And I was like, "Well, your shop looks amazing. I'm kind of doing some projects of my own, and I'd just love to come in and check your space out." He's like, "Well, all right, I'm really busy right now." And this was like 2008, 2009, and so I just go through the front door, and you have this little office space, and you kind of like walk through the office space, and it just like opens up into this cavernous shop space, and 7,500 square feet, the whole first floor, and just every woodworking tool you can imagine is there, because they're a professional shop. They've been operating for 20 years at this point, and I'm thinking about my garage shop as Home Depot tools and kind of older hand-me-down garage sale finds, and I just think this is the place to be. To hell with the grad schools. Like, this is where I need to be. So whatever it takes, I'll do it. I'll sweep the floors for years. Ended up doing that. I wasn't expecting that, but it's a recession, and kind of had to just take an opportunity that I saw to learn, and I just figured, I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how to make ends meet, and as long as I'm learning, that's kind of been something that I've just kind of clung on to, is just as long as I'm learning something, it makes sense to me, worth it. So
yeah, and working toward your end goal.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the same kind of mindset that I had whenever I was working toward my design degree as well. I think it's so important to just keep growing. So how long was your internship? How long did you?
Feels like a lifetime ago, but it was probably 4.5 years, 4 or 5 years. I started kind of on and off. That was like, I graduated college in 2009, and so I had that period where I was doing the barnwood. Um, so I was probably there 2010, 2011, and then I ended up. He retired. He and his wife retired, and then that was probably 2015. So somewhere around there.
Wow. And you founded your studio in 2012, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So were you able to simultaneously work for him and then also build your pieces that you wanted to create in the shop?
So, that kind of, that was a little awkward. But I did tell them, I want to do my own thing eventually. And so he just said, during the day you're working for me, and so at night or early morning and evening, work on your own stuff, or on the weekend. So, we kind of worked out a deal, and I let's see how it goes. He, after a while, I just started doing the majority of the building for him, and so I got to see how he operated, how he did his work, how his then wife ran kind of up front from the business, did the accounting, communicated with clients, and just kind of set the style. For them, it was all about the integrity, all about how how you carry yourself, how you're not going to let anything that's short of the best out of your door, because that's you. You are releasing part of yourself when the product leaves the space. So that was just something that they really just kind of beat into me, because before I was just like, oh, this is done, slap it together, like, get it out. I need to pay my bills. I need to make money. Blah blah blah. And so it really, really instilled in me that it does matter what you say, how you say it, where you say it, and what you're saying out into the world. It's really just all about just your integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And,
so important. Yeah, I worked for several places, firms before starting my own, and it was kind of the same experience. Like, I learned what to do and what not to do, and um, and but I think that it all kind of prepared me to launch on my own, and definitely the business side and the accounting and all that stuff did not come easy. It was like that's the most kind of like tedious and not fun area of business, but you have to do it, obviously. And
Hmm.
whenever you're a small firm and you're starting out on your own, you kind of have to take on, wear all the hats and whatnot. So what an amazing experience for them to be able to, um, really kind of pass down all of the 20 years of experience or however long it was that they were doing all this, but also have an amazing work ethic and great business practices, and in addition to the creative kind of build side.
Sure.
Wow, yeah, I love that. Um, so were your aesthetics the same, the both of you, or how did your aesthetic? How did you grow your aesthetic, and has it always been the same? Has it evolved over time? Can you
Uh,
tell us a little bit about that? Like first, I guess was your aesthetic the same as your mentor, and or did it play a role in your aesthetic now?
I have to say that now looking back, our aesthetics are probably the complete opposite of one another. And for a long time, and he did incredible work. They just had the incredible long, just having a sterling reputation. And I just they're very much traditional woodwork, millworking shop. So a lot of that was driven, his design that was driven by um, just, what was in favor in the 90s. He pulled a lot of inspiration, I think, from just kind of ancient, Japanese
Hmm.
architecture and design, and a lot of kind of mid-century modern. And for a while, I found that I was kind of emulating his work, and and I knew that I was comfortable with it. I knew how to make it, but I kind of had that sense like this isn't quite me way, some detail here and there, but I didn't really find my stride until after I, just a really tough period where I wasn't comfortable with what I was producing, and uh, I had to just kind of just stumble through things. I started feeling like, okay, this feels good. This kind of feels right. But there was always kind of a sense like there's still some like missing parts to it. Like something just not all the way. And I did some traveling. I turned 30. I went to Italy, and went to just all around Europe to visit my sister who was in Portugal at the time, and I just found in Italy it was just an amazing country. Everyone on here should go at some point in their life if you can. But just like seeing the marble that they have in alleyways, just kind of this broken bits of marble, just like paving the whole alley, sides of buildings. For them, it's not as quite a precious material as we see it here, and they just used it in such a different way, and just seeing these like ancient buildings from probably the 10th or 11th century, and then there's like this really kind of stylish like lingerie shop with steel and glass, like all this, and I was just like, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Like just using kind of the old with the new. So, kind of looking at David's work, um, I learned how to execute things technically in a really high level. So, being able to apply, I really wanted to simplify it because his stuff was very technical and very detailed, but I just kind of wanted to streamline it a little bit further until something was just a bit more simplified and eloquent was rendered after that. So just kind of, I don't know, kind of a roundabout way to answer the question.
Yeah, no. I I um I think you answered it perfectly. I think that travel also for me is so inspiring. Anytime I'm in a rut or feel like I have hit a wall or am unmotivated or whatnot, I travel, and it always brings me back to why I started this in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of brings back that childlike wonder, where we we unlock that unlimited creative potential that we all have, kind of thing. And by seeing even something that's unrelated to your end piece or your final result, it can spark this huge idea, and just kind of like you're able to run with it. And so I completely relate to that. I think that it's uh, you know, um, your furniture itself is organic. You can see all very refined, organic. You you can see all of the technical, I guess, intricacies that he may have taught you, but the final piece is it doesn't. I guess it's not as, it just kind of flows.
Mm-hmm.
So so yeah, I can really see all of your inspiration, or your aesthetic inspiration in your work now. It's incredible. If any of you have not seen Matt's work, please go see his. Are you going to show us any today?
I think so. I'd like to. I don't know how that. I don't know how to do that per se.
Okay, so you would just do you have pieces there?
I do have some in the back here. It's a little messy, but um, I could. Well, if I can show you this one here,
Yeah, let's see.
one of our early pieces.
Let's see a little bit
Or
further down.
Nope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
Yes.
are brass pulls. This is one of the original samples for our plinth table, the solid marble.
Wow. Beautiful.
So,
Are you always like on the hunt for new stone, and does it change um, with new series and pieces and things like that, or do you purchase in bulk? Try to purchase in bulk so you have unlimited.
well, that's kind of a long answer. I have some very good friends who own a stone supply. I'm going to walk over. I have a couple more pieces I can show you. I have my apartment. It's my motorcycle. My Great Dane and my baby and wife are over there.
Oh my gosh! Congratulations on your new baby.
Thank you so much. So
Oh,
here's a piece over here.
it's a boy or girl?
He's a boy.
And how old is he?
He's 7 months.
Oh my gosh, he's precious.
Yeah, we're pretty sure he just said "dada" yes last night, so I'm completely melted. So there's bottles and stuff all over there, but I'm fortunate to be able to live above the studio space up on the third floor, so I can walk down and go to work. It's
Lovely.
incredible.
That's super convenient. So convenient. So like, will you walk us through your creative process whenever you are dreaming up a new piece? How
Sure.
does that kind of work?
Set back up. So, I'm kind of as I learned, I try to think at what I say is kind of like, I envision this like funnel, and every idea up top is kind of like on a macro scale, and kind of like refine it. And, I kind of try to think of the most ridiculous thing up top, put it in there, kind of like, and I try to disassemble it, dismantle it, break it in my mind. It's too expensive to build something, try to tear it up. And kind of at the end, it comes out in like parts and phrases, and like the nuts and bolts. But from those parts, you can kind of you pick up on that same design language as the original thought, but you phrase it together, and you can produce something just more eloquently. That's a cohesive thought, cohesive idea at the bottom. I guess that's kind of just like how I envision just kind of our design philosophy, go about, thinking about deciding what's to be released, what we just keep to ourselves, or what we kind of decides still needs more work, more finessing, and things change over time. Some details we change, something we improve on. I'm going to say that everything is like completely perfect. It's high, as well done as we can, but maybe we find a different process that makes one step of it just a bit easier or more efficient, or adding like some new way to like make something more level in an imperfect final site. Um, so, and a lot of that's just like technical, like kind of thinking through an idea. Um, but just as far as the materiality goes, I'm always interested in how a material can be pushed. Each material has its strengths and weaknesses, and I mean, you can't do everything with anything. I mean, you have to understand what those capabilities and what those limits are. But I like to push them, and that's just done through just experience and research, and also just understanding what your machines can do, because ultimately those are what shape literally the material that you use. And like I said, I mentioned my friend Chuck and Leslie from Carthage Stoneworks, and they're just, I don't know, kind of my um, they're just good friends. They've supplied me with materials to execute these ideas, um, and just drawing upon their experience. And, Carthage is, I think it's a 80 or 100-year-old company, so they've got this kind of storied history in town. We go see their showroom, and it's just incredible. All these just insane. Back to my like first trip going over there to, I'd never been to any stone yard before, but just they have this brand new warehouse where you get to walk the aisles and see all this incredible work. And it's not that I see like, that could be like a table base, that could be a tabletop. You have to understand and talk with them about what you can do with what materials, again, because not everything can be freestanding. Some things have to have a certain type of back. Some pieces can cantilever out quite a bit. So it's really um, understanding those materials, what you can do with them, what their limits are, and kind of just setting that as like your standard. And then say, okay, how about we do, one of these pieces that I've been wanting to do, and let's maybe try with this material first, and then kind of go from there. So kind of just, at first it's kind of more cautious, calculated, and thoughtful, and then once you get the okay on a project, you just run with it. Usually works out.
So do you design the pieces first and then go to them and say, hey, what works best with this? With
Yes.
this piece? What do you think? Okay, great. And I saw a question come on here that said, what is your favorite? Do you have a favorite combination of materials?
I mean, I'm always a fan of just like three, like the kind of the rule of three. You know, uh, I like pieces that are just uniform, that are all the same material, but I like a metal, wood, and kind of just like keeping with that piece has like all of those. It's a nice, it's like an eloquent phrase, not like a one. It's has body, has movement, has some to it. But I mean, as far as like just materials go, I mean, I don't know that any marble. I don't know. And, we're starting to get into bronze, um, some different types of plating. So I'm really liking experimenting with those, the combinations of, on my page, I posted recently one of our new series, the Monolitho, which has I think it's a Paonazzo marble, this polished nickel base, and the top is just this really thick, dark, ebonized ash. It's a combination of something just like really, really that has a lot of visual and physical weight to it. And you have that the middle section, the base, is that Paonazzo marble, just has a lot of organic curves and movement to it, but it's kind of set in this like rigid, kind of a triangle, pyramidal shape, and then at the bottom there's that polished nickel foot. That's a small detail. Person, you see that striking detail wraps around the bottom perimeter of that base. So just like all together, it's just kind of this eloquent, complete thought, and you see it and you walk around, you can see the reflection from that. But I don't know.
I've not seen it, but I'm also, whenever a mix of materials and textures is just like so yummy to me, for lack of a better word, but it's true. It's very like it it serves and satiates an entire palate. It's almost like a feast, kind of. You get a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of everything. You get all of these different textures, all the different movements, and it appeals to so many uh, different palettes. And yeah, I love the mix of materials. It's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And you do that so well. The materials that you select are just perfection. Everything is so good. So you could definitely tell all of the work and thought and just kind of like perfecting it all throughout the process goes into it all, because yeah, your pieces, every single one of them, all of the finishes, like it's all so good.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you are
Great.
such a talent. You are a talent. Do you have a big team?
No, we're not. They're not a big team. We have a few different subs that we work with, but just internally, um, there are only five of us, sometimes six of us. So just a pretty small team, and we try to do as much as we can in. So the majority of our metal work is in house, and we work with Carthage on doing the stone work. But and obviously all the woodwork is done as well. So everyone kind of has um, a list of jobs that they and tasks that they perform. So and we're growing too. We're expanding. Um, we have we're there's craftsmen. So we're looking to expand, and we're taking over the basement of the building, so we have kind of additional space down there. So everyone kind of has their lists and tasks. So it's really all about just like getting a good team, and kind of going over all of the just the little steps, the way that you have to see, and have to look after one another, because not one to walk around with a clipboard at all. I don't like that. So I have to trust that they know what they're doing, that they are going to execute at the level that is expected of them. I trust them to do that. So, and we're learning too. It's a kind of a mix of my guys Don and John, who are very experienced, and I can trust. I can give them a drawing and say, let's do this, and they'll have a few questions here and there, but I know that they'll be able to execute it. And I'm kind of all around, be in the metal shop for a while, then I have to come up and look at some emails, some sales questions. Then I'm milling some wood, so I kind of feel like my role is evolving too, and my wife does some sales for us as well. Um, so it's been interesting. We're kind of at a pivotal point where everyone has to kind of do a little bit of everything, and that's what keeps it exciting. There's never a dull moment in business ownership,
Yeah.
especially when you're building something that function. Like I could go on all sorts with that, but it's just the stuff that we make has to be beautiful, has to, and you have to get it done fast, and you know some
Yeah, everyone wants everything yesterday.
yeah, some party, someone wants to showcase it, and I blame them, but or not a
Yeah,
huge factory.
yeah, I sympathize, empathize with all of that you said on a very real level at this moment. I'm also growing, and my team is growing. In the past few months, it's grown, it's doubled, and so you and I am also not the kind of person to walk around and micromanage everybody. I feel like we all are adults. We should just handle
Mm-hmm.
our this, and I've learned quickly that that doesn't work for some people. But yeah, we just keep rolling, and it is tough. Like moving into all of these different roles, man, when bringing in new employees, it adds a whole new layer that you didn't have whenever it was just like a couple of you, you know. So, but it's exciting, and I'm so thrilled for you and all of your growth this year. I know it's just gonna take off as it already has, but yeah, your work is timeless, and I can see it around forever. But yeah, very cool. Okay, so do you have a favorite piece, really quickly, that
Uh,
you've built so far?
Definitely the plinth series. I'm loving that. Was one of the first pieces that we produced after that trip to Italy, and that carpet is the first collaborated on. Just kind of this timeless piece that has the corrugation marble and really simple top. I think it's kind of just the epitome of like what the design, our design style is. Very simple, but it's still a mix of materials. Um, even the monolitho. I love that combination of mixing materials. But we've also done iterations of those designs that are all wood, all oak, or all walnut. Still very beautiful as well.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm really excited about those two tables.
The plinth and the, what was the other one?
Monolitho.
Monolitho. Is that the three?
The monolitho is that solid block of marble at the base, and the plinth series is like corrugated. They're kind of in a diamond pattern. The legs are kind of on the home page. I have one over there in my kitchen. It's a double pedal, but it has those kind of rectilinear corrugated legs. Just kind of, it's based on just kind of ancient columns, building.
Yeah.
And actually, the original pieces were remnant pieces from a building that was built in the 30s, I think, was taken down. So, we've unearthed
Wow.
this profile of the stone and started using them.
Oh my gosh, that's even cooler.
But to
Like the
start,
story that it tells, the history and the story that it
mm-hmm.
tells from using like
Mm-hmm.
older kind of pieces.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Again, here's that.
Oh yeah, the base.
Yeah,
The,
kind of like this green.
oh
You can see the corrugation in it.
yes, it's stunning. Wow. Um, all right. So, what has been the most transformative part of your journey as a creator, and why?
Well, it kind of be, I think about like the made, and they're just things, but I think the most transformative part of the whole journey has just been the relationships that I've built and with vendors and designers, and just being able to count on people, and you build these relationships, work with them. Um, Leslie at Carthage, just all of the clients we've had up to this point, and kind of as we started to hit our stride, especially the last 2 years. Um, having conversations and saying, we're not always doing all these anymore. That's kind of, we started out as an all custom shop. But after speaking with the designers and reaching out to them, we say we'll do a project, but we only do something that's in keeping with our current line. So we can do a customized version of one of our pieces, but we've been fortunate to just work with people who are trusting and who want to work with us limits of what can be done within set parameters of what the space calls for or what the materials can yield. But kind of it all kind of came together only 2 years ago. And we also I think doing ICFF in New York was a big part of that push. It was long. That was 2017. Um, we started doing that, and I at that point I had already worked out or dealing with Carthage, and they supplied some materials to start our first pieces. We took them out there, and I was just super nervous, and people started, it started getting some traction. I think the 2 years later, 2019, we went again. And, people were like, "Oh, we remember you a couple of years ago," and it was kind of at that point where I had a client, a now client, who came by the booth, and he was just kind of standing there. I had like my blue blazer tie and an iron shirt for one, and I'm standing there, and he's looking at stuff. He's kind of like standing there, and I'm like, "Hey," and he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I was looking at the work. Where are you guys based out of?" And just like, we're in Kansas City, Missouri, and he just takes off his glasses. He's just, "No, nope, this does not come from Kansas City. I'm from Kansas City." And I was like, "Well, here we are." And we just had a good laugh about all that. And he's just like, I just figured you guys were from Italy or Spain or somewhere." And so
No,
it was just, sorry.
no, go ahead, please.
Yeah, it was just kind of one of those moments where it was like we're on this like platform, where there's designers from all over the world, people from all over the world, this show, and it was kind of just this sense of validation that we belonged. So that kind of gave me the confidence that, like, okay, like the work that we're producing, it works, and people like it, and it's exciting, and it's new, it's different, and it has room to grow. So it kind of just started taking off from there. So just having those relationships that kind of got us to a point where we could then continue to grow and continue to just push forward. So it's kind of just those combinations. Everything kind of just happened at the right time, right place. And, during the pandemic, we were through those relationships and through that experience, we were able to continue to grow without any time, fortunately. So we were just incredibly just having our team here and close contact with our suppliers. We were able to not really have too many delays, fortunately. So it's just, that was kind of just that pivotal moment that transformed us from like, oh, we'll take on any odd job, we'll do whatever we can, but to saying, this is our style, this is the kind of the parameters that we work within, and let's do something fun, but it has to follow this kind of criteria, and so that's kind of just, that was that moment.
Oh my gosh, no, you absolutely deserve a very large seat at the table. I mean, your work is it it spans across culture, time periods, all of the different kind of, I guess, and I absolutely agree with your client. It does not look like it's from Missouri, but yeah, I mean, kudos to you for. I was actually just talking to my social media manager before the interview, and I was like, "Have you ever been to Kansas City, Missouri?" She's like, "No." She's like, "No," and I was like, "Me neither."
Yeah.
I wonder what it's like there. But
There's a lot of bars and restaurants, a couple, but that's about it.
wow. Yeah, it's the travel, and then now, I feel like we have the world at our fingertips, and so it what we see, regardless if we think so or not, it definitely influences our, style and evolution over time. So yeah, I mean, I feel like, and to your point where you said that everything has just kind of worked out organically, I could not agree more. I feel like even from the beginning, whenever you said that you applied at all of these master's programs, and didn't get, or graduate programs and didn't get into them, and instead went to this internship. You know, I feel like the universe has a way of just kind of like bringing what is meant to be to our front door if we allow it, at least. So yeah, an amazing story and an experience. And I've never been to ICFF, but I want to. Well, I want to go. Will you be there in the coming years? Will you be there next year?
If we can, I think we're looking at shows as well. CFF was great. Had a tremendous experience there. So, you know, hopefully, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what's going on, but just with the pandemic. But
Yeah.
you know, there's a couple shows. There's a West Edge in California. You know, ICFF is certainly on the radar, and we're also looking at Art Basel in Miami. So I think it would be incredible.
I want to go there next year as well. Yeah. I'm with you on that, Art Basel, for sure. For the relations, the connections, and also all the fun.
Sure. Oh yeah, it'd be a party.
Yeah, it's a big party.
Yes.
It's so much fun. One of the local artists here had a show there this year, and she was just telling me about all of the relationships that she's built there, and how it's just so much fun. Like, you walk into one studio and you start talking to them, and they'll invite you to their party that evening and whatnot. So yeah, I plan to experience that in the upcoming years for sure. So what was one of the hardest moments in your career, and how did you overcome it?
You know, I'd say, you know, when we first took over, or when I took over, you know, it's kind of just like I had this kind of job, this role. It was just kind of defined, set up before me. I took over the lease, and so at that point we only had the first floor. So my mentor my business transitioned into his space. So I took over the lease, then we took over the upper floor. But that's another story. But that moment, that like January 1, signed the lease, you know, it's just me in the shop, and I already had, you know, some work with some designers here in town. You know, I had like a set of 12 chairs for Lisa Schmitz, and you know, I'm just like, okay, like I got this, I can do this. I had other giant built-in project, this executive office, and I don't know what happened. Maybe it was just so too cold in here. Or happened with the power. You know, my timetable broke, my driller broke, and some other hand tools that just kind of went out. And I had the fire inspector that came in. He's like, hey, all of these lights have to be hardwired. You're just plugging in these shop lights. You need to redo everything. And I got some bids, and fortunately, my friend Dan owns Deluxe Lighting. He came in, and you know, they were able to fix things. But it was just like you know, I was 27 at the time, or 28 at 29 at the time, and it was like, how do I do this? How do I make this happen? Like, am I going to close down the first like 5 months of running this thing on my own? Like, Dave was here for almost 30 years and made it happen. Like, what do I do? And, you know, my time, you know, just kind of sat down and probably cried, and like did not know what to do. But you know, you get up, and I fixed the machine, bought new motors for the machine, reinstalled them, because it's like, well, am I going to pay somebody $4,000 to come and look at the machine and tell me, yep, it's broken? So I figure it out, and things, you know, it's just like, you know, kind of just like getting punched in the face. You can get punched in the face. You're not made of glass. You just move on. You move forward, figure it out, and just kind of that point was like kind of hitting like rock bottom. Like I don't know what to do, but I'll just figure it out. And then you start growing from there. You find your team. You find people that you can trust. You find suppliers who are going to give you the high quality materials, and you just work from there, you just build up. So that was just that point where I felt this confidence because I had this role, and then it was just all kind of broken down. I kind of had to build up from or off of the floor, off of the dusty floor, just figure it out and do it. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've had a lot of help. My dad, my whole family, my wife's family, uh, friends from college that just randomly come by and kind of help out. Buddy Dom, friend Taylor out west. Just talking with people and working through things that just they give you confidence to move forward, even if they don't know what they're talking about. At least just like sharing ideas and sharing just how you feel, because a lot of this is just about like kind of your mental well-being or people too, and you have to share like kind of how you're feeling, and that's okay. And like you're a total mess, like just work through it and move forward. That was kind of like on my low point, just kind of building up just with people that I trust. And after getting some confidence back, I was kind of that moment.
Thank you for sharing. I've had some similar moments where I have hung up the phone and just like bawled, cried it out real quick,
Yeah.
and then went to solution mode. But
Sure.
I agree that these challenges. Well, one, even speaking it out loud to someone and kind of like getting it off of your chest
Mhm.
is like therapy. It's a relief,
Sure.
So you're able to kind of like step back, put things into perspective, and come up with, okay, let's do this, and those may not work, but at least you're like starting to kind of figure out solutions or working toward a solution. And then the other thing is that whenever you figure it out and you do end up solving that, your confidence builds so much. And so each of these lessons, and kind of like you said, you get punched in the face. One of my friends, because I recently went through this whole, just last week actually, a really tough week, and one of my friends said, in entrepreneurship, nobody else understands it unless you're an entrepreneur, and it's literally just getting punched in the face and then getting back up and figuring it out, which is really funny because you use the same analogy, but it's true. So every single time we solve one of these issues, and it feels like the world is crushing down around us, and then things move on, and we end up working it out, our confidence builds, and the next time it comes around, we're a little less I guess frantic, and start from ground zero and the steps that we need to take in order to make it happen. But
Sure.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I have been there, and I relate to it on a normal and very frequent basis. So
Sure.
yeah, but so if you could collaborate, our closing question, if you could collaborate with one other artist, creator, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh, I was looking at this morning. I mean, it's a lot of people, but probably Emile Jacques Rollin is a French designer from the 30s, the Art Deco period. Either him, just his, I don't know, he was just such a force in design, the history of design, just with using different veneers, using cast metals for poles and for feet. Just his knowledge of material and their capabilities and what he did with them, what he and his team did with them was just incredible. Just one of those prolific people that just have this wealth of knowledge of materials, and he sourced materials from all over the world and just made the most beautiful pieces, these literally museum quality works that were just incredible. They're pieces of art. So I would love to or to in some alternate reality, be able to learn from him, and, get some sort of even a little bit of his understanding of design and materiality. And Jean-Michel Franck, another one who, whose space I would love to, to have had the opportunity to do something for. Just really love his design aesthetic. And but then there's also, I was thinking about this. There's the unknown. There's the history of chair design and furniture design is one that's like, you see these pieces that were made in like Finland or somewhere in the 20s and 30s, and if it wasn't built in some big factory, it was made in a barn. They probably didn't have power, and they built all this stuff. Well, so I'm, thinking I'm like sitting there, one this is broken, crying the blues, and it's like, some person made this thing that's amazing in a barn with hand tools. So like get up and like fix it or figure out another way to do it. So it's like there's also that known maker that's out there that's just like totally kicking ass, just like, they've done some amazing thing. It's like, kind of just like I always kind of envision that unknown person that's out there. It's either the competition or they're just whatever I need mentally at the time. I envision that person just doing something, and I have to like, keep up with that, and
Yeah.
or match what they're doing in my head. But yeah,
Oh,
Roman
that's a great way of looking at things, though, because it is true. It can be much worse, and sometimes we get kind of caught up in our own little bubble, and we don't think about like this guy that's whittling down, this piece of furniture by hand, by himself, and in like an unlit barn kind of thing, and it does kind of bring you back to what we're capable of.
Sure.
Yeah, love that. Um, okay, so if you weren't in the design industry, what do you think that you'd be doing instead?
Oh gosh. I think. Well, I dream of mine was to always go into medical school. So, cousin who I would go and watch surgical cases with in middle school and high school. That I loved watching instructions, hip surgeries. Um, I think I saw several surgeries, but it was beautiful to me.
Yeah.
Just seeing the different templates that they use to resetting bones and joints. It was just incredible, and I think I would have really loved that type of surgery, orthopedic surgery.
Wow. Still building something,
Hmm.
still small little intricacies, using your hands to fix something. So I like that. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, he
Um,
actually came by and he was just like, you know what, Matt? And he was like, please don't ever say this. So I'm just, he was like, I love how you guys are. He's like, because the stuff we work on, it grows back, or it grows together. Your stuff, when you cut it, it's if you mess up, it's done.
it's done. It's true. It's true. You have to figure out how to put it back together.
Hmm.
Um, all right. And then last is anything new and exciting in the pipeline that the audience should know about?
Well, we are represented currently by Milan, California. He has two amazing like showrooms opening up, in they're currently in West Hollywood, but she has a kind of a house showroom that they're getting ready to finalize, as well as a showroom in San Francisco at the Design Center. So those are both two brand new showrooms that we're ready to ship some pieces out to. So if you're in California at any, go see them. We're all,
I just signed a contract for LA project. So yeah, I would love. What is it called?
Una Milan. So she is just this amazing design force in California, and so they have a showroom in LA, in Montecito, California, as well as San Francisco. So we just signed with them last year. We've been working this year, just on. They've been developing their showrooms. They're they have an amazingly well curated collection of different vendors. We're also, like I said, we're looking at different shows to kind of kick off maybe this year or next year. We're also looking at additional in Atlanta and Chicago. So I was just talking to my wife and my team and different friends. We're just excited this year to just keep kicking ass and not set any limitations. Just running with it. So we'll get busy and busier, and we're just excited to keep the momentum going and expand the team, expand our shop, expand our representation. While still fulfilling, keeping things at the same level of quality. Probably go crazy at some point, but uh,
For sure. I mean, but it's good. It's good crazy.
sure.
We wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
There's literally no better reward than seeing your own hard work come to fruition, and then you have the control over if it goes badly to correct it and learn from it and move forward. So
Sure.
I am so excited for you and all of your growth and your partnerships and representation that you're going to that you've committed to, and that will happen in this year and in future. I'm so grateful for your time and for you to share your story and to kind of get to know you a little bit better. It's been such a pleasure.
Sure. Thank you so much, Amanda. Thank you. It was great.
Thank you. And where can everyone find more about your work and your pieces and whatnot?
So you can visit Una's website, Una Milan, or you can check it out on our website, or here on Instagram. We try to post kind of in real time what we're working on. Gotten as busy as we've been. I'm bad about posting regularly. Always check in. Really, anybody who's interested, just send me a message, and I'll respond as soon as I can. But I'm happy to answer questions or even just chat. Send an email, call, and always available. So love to chat.
Perfect. And then if you're in the Kansas City, Missouri area and you want to get into furniture building,
yes, yep,
talk to Matt.
That's right.
Go see Matt. Well, again, thank you so much, and I will tag all of your information in the show notes, and I look forward to meeting you in person one day.
Thank you so much. That would be great. Thank you.
Okay. Congratulations again on the little baby, and I will talk soon.
All right. I'll look forward to it.
Okay. Bye-bye.